Hi, I'm Liron Cohen.
And I'm Mimi Torchin.
And you're listening to Lady Parts TV, the podcast.
Whee!
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another podcast episode.
Greetings and salutations.
Oh, you're so quiet today. I'm going to have to turn you up. I'm going to put the microphone right next to you.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Just quickly, we're going to tell you about the stats to see how we did this week. We tallied 28 shows, out of which written or co-written by women 16, which is 57%.
Excellent.
As always, we do pretty much better on the writing area, and directed by a woman 10, which is 36%. We're back to our regular third, which seems to be kind of the usual. Okay, we will start by telling you about a movie, and if you've seen our movie preview vlog, we previewed a bunch of movies for you, and as we promised along the way, we're reviewing them as we're seeing them. And so the first one is called Long Shot. It's in theaters now, starring Charlize Theron and Seth Rogen, and directed by Jonathan Levine, written by Dan Sterling and Liz Hanna. So at least, again, another woman co-writer. Yep. What are you doing, Lola? Lola!
She's playing in her favorite box.
This is her way of participating in the podcast. Okay, so the premise is that Charlize Theron is Madam Secretary.
Oh,
to
how unique.
To idiot Bob Odenkirk's president.
Trump. Oh no.
Sort of like a Trump-Reagan kind of a combination.
Yeah, but he's actually, he makes Reagan look like
no, but just because he's an actor.
Snow.
He's an actor.
Yeah.
But right. It's very political, it's very relevant to our time, and it's made to be like that. Anyway, so she's running for president, and she runs into somebody she used to babysit, Seth Rogen, when they were young.
They were next door neighbors. Right,
and he's a very angry journalist who just lost his job, and so she offers him to be her speechwriter because Lisa Kudrow, in a barely 3-minute
role, right,
who does her like demographic marketing polling thing, tells her that she's not funny enough according to people.
So they actually hire him just to write jokes,
right,
to punch up this next speech she's doing,
and several speeches, right?
Several speeches, but he's so great that...
And so they reconnect on another level, as you can imagine. This is semi-rom-com, just com.
Oh, it's not semi-rom-com at all. It's total rom-com.
It is, but to me, I feel that the trailer kind of focused on their relationship was just definitely this is kind of a reverse Pretty Woman when the guy is in the Julia Roberts seat.
Except that he's no Julia Roberts.
Not even close. Yep. Let me say nobody's Julia Roberts,
no,
but if they could have chosen...
I'm just talking about a type. Yeah.
If they could have chosen the least Julia Roberts guy, they could have found it was Seth Rogen.
They did a very good job at that.
So it is a rom-com, but it also is very political. It has a lot of... It's a very, very feminist movie.
Yes, it is. And it's a very smart script.
It's a very, very smart, funny, witty comedy.
Yep. It's got a very, very good script. It's well written. And it's really, who would have known that Charlize that really had such good comic chops?
She has. What I found in this role is she did a good balance of both being very comic and at the same time she has the gravitas. That is needed for a woman who is still playing the Secretary of State.
She managed to... she really managed to balance every element that was thrown at her with aplomb. I think she'd make an excellent president. And by the way, have we mentioned, she is so beautiful.
Yes, that's pretty much Mimi said that every other...
But every 3 minutes
yes.
I went, she is so beautiful.
But even my mom, who wrote me yesterday, who went to see it and said, "Oh, it was such a great movie. She's so beautiful."
She's so beautiful.
Seth Rogen, by the way, is really, to me, the most unappealing person visually, but he was very sweet. He was very charming and very funny.
Very funny. He is like an unmade bed, but there is
even after being cleaned up. He's still
but when they clean him up for a party in a tux, he looks very, very presentable.
Passable, you mean?
No, I thought he looked great.
June Diane Raphael is also in here. You might remember her as Brianna from Grace and Frankie, and Alexander Skarsgård in Surprise Role.
And we just didn't recognize him. We kept saying, we know who that guy is. Who is he? He was playing
the
Trudeau,
Prime Minister
more or less.
of
Yes.
Canada, yeah.
I couldn't have been more surprised to have seen it was Skarsgård.
Yeah.
What hair does for a person is amazing.
An attitude.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was a really, really highly entertaining movie.
We laughed our asses off. We just laughed, and I guffawed.
But it's also extremely satisfying because it is so feminist,
Yes.
and because it is so... Again, it's like one of those movies like Madam Secretary, and it gives you an alternative to what we're going through right now, which
Yes,
is
it
something
does.
we really need.
Desperately.
So Long Shot in theaters now. Run to see it.
Yes,
Truly
have some
enjoyable.
fun.
Okay, so this next thing is not a rom-com. It is an excellent British series, now in its 5th season. It's called Line of Duty. If you haven't already seen
Start from
first,
the beginning.
Well, I mean, they actually do try and sell it as you can start from here. You could, but why would you want to? I'm jealous of you that you have 4 seasons of this to watch before.
Absolutely,
starting the 5th
and they are
season.
great seasons, each and every one of them.
It's one of the most highly viewed
Popular.
series in Britain, and for a very good reason. It's already aired in the UK. It actually just aired its finale, and all 6 episodes of the 5th season will be available on Acorn starting Monday, May 13th. They are making it available to binge, which they don't always do. Sometimes they start episode a week. Created by Jed Mercurio, who, by the way, also created The Bodyguard. And it's starring Vicky McClure as Kate Fleming, Martin Compston as Steve Arnott, and Adrian Dunbar as Ted Hastings.
Again, may we say.
Every season.
Yes.
And every season there's a different kind
Guest
of
star.
big guest star that's throughout the season. We had Keely Hawes that actually had 2 seasons, the first 2 seasons, if you needed an incentive.
And we had Tandy Newton.
If you need another incentive,
Yes.
that was one of my favorite seasons. That was a really good one.
Unbelievable.
And then this season, people that we really didn't know that much, Stephen Graham and Aisha Hart, but did a very, very fine job.
Excellent.
And it's amazing. So I'll just tell you what it's about. It's about AC-12, which is a unit. It's the anti-corruption unit. So basically like our internal affairs unit.
Internal affairs, right.
And so every season, it's like the crime of the season, but it always leads back to corruption in the very, very highest ranks in their police.
Lower ranks and higher ranks.
It goes all the way high up,
through.
and I think every season they try to get higher and higher up because it is still the same corruption, and it's actually pretty amazing how they managed to link together all the seasons.
Yes,
it's
it is.
very.
It's
It's like a
fascinating.
puzzle. It's so complex.
And let me just say, you have to pay attention in this show.
Oh my God! Do you have that? You can't do anything
You can't
while
do
watching the show.
anything while watching this show.
You
but
can't miss a
watch
line.
this show because everything is important, and it's very talk about a puzzle. It's extremely complex.
It's like a 1,000-piece puzzle.
yes. It's
And-
complex television.
And in this season, the first 2 episodes, which I find sometimes happens with these complex series, the first 2 episodes were a bit confusing to me, and I wasn't completely there. But after that, it became stronger and stronger and more powerful and more complex and more interesting. And it's a fantastic series. We have 1 more season at least so far that we know. We might have to wait a little while for this. It's something about maybe only in 2021. But it's truly one of those shows that you will have to binge on. You will want to binge on.
And it keeps you off balance. You think you figured something else out, but no, wait, not really. Oh, wait, maybe.
Yeah.
It really has a very extreme balancing act that it does really, really well. And this season, it's about an undercover cop. And the world of undercover cops, especially those who may have been under for a little bit too long, is always to me a very fascinating concept because they get lost sometimes. This is really, really a good show.
Yeah, it's such a good show. And again, if you haven't been watching, go to the beginning and watch from the start. Line of Duty on Acorn. The first 4 seasons are already there. The 5th season is starting May 13th. And if you're in the UK, it just finished airing, so go and look for it on demand or something. Line of Duty. And now to something entirely different. We're running the gamut
really
here.
talk about something entirely different. This is a new series on Netflix, 10 episodes. It's called Dead to Me. created by Liz Feldman, and it's starring Christina Applegate and Linda Cardinelli, who I
have to say,
absolutely adore.
It's starring a bunch of other people, but
Yes.
really it's a duet.
Yes, there are other people in it, but it's really a pas de deux between the two of them. Actually, James Marsden has a fairly
And I see that a couple
role.
of other people
Yeah.
are coming in later on, but
It's an odd little half-hour show. It focuses around two women who meet at a grief counseling
support group.
exactly. One of them has lost her husband to a hit and run, and the other one's lost her boyfriend. They tie together in very surprising ways, and they're very different women, but they find solace in each other, and they form a very, very tight relationship very quickly. And then the surprises start to
Then they start realizing
rear
that,
their heads.
at least then Christina Applegate's character starts realizing that she doesn't really know much about Linda Cardellini's character, and she doesn't know some things that we already do know, so there's that friction there, that tension of,
Yes.
we know something that she doesn't.
Yes, and she has quite a big secret, but it's extremely feminine, female-centric.
Yes, both behind
And in front. It's very well written, and it's very surprising. And even though they wouldn't seem to, which happens often, Seth Rogen and Charlize Theron, for example, they have good chemistry. And good chemistry is everything. So I think you will enjoy this show. Give it a couple of episodes.
It's very intriguing.
Very intriguing.
Because it's kind of twisted.
And it goes fast. It's a half an hour. That moves very quickly.
And it's a dramedy, so it's funny, but it's also very dramatic.
It's also very dramatic. And I liked it, and I liked it more and more as it went along.
Yeah, I think it's very kind of, there's a very twisted darkness about it that I like.
Absolutely. Otherwise, comedies don't interest me.
Right.
This is Dead to Me, Netflix.
Right now.
Right now.
Go watch. Okay, now we have a little heads up for you for a Netflix series that will, all 10 episodes of it will become available on Netflix worldwide May 24th.
Yes. We haven't seen this. We haven't seen
No.
We just saw a few minute preview, minute and a half or something.
Yeah, they haven't. They're keeping it very cryptic and very mysterious, and I think that's pretty much in fittingly with the way that the show is going to be. It's called What If, created by Mike Kelly, who created Revenge, and starring Renee Zellweger, who was my reason to be interested in this to begin
She's
with.
going to wear a name tag so we know it's her.
So we know who she is. It's sad, but so true. Also, Dave Annable from Brothers and Sisters, and Samantha Ware from Glee. And it's an anthological series. They define it as a neo-noir social thriller. And it's going to deal with different moral issues. And the first season, starring Renee Zellweger, I don't know if she'll be in all seasons, it starts with kind of like, if I offered you to have anybody or anything that you want, what would you risk to have everything? And the trailer is extremely...
What would you do?
Right. It's extremely bizarre. It feels kind of sordid in a way. And again, they're keeping it very, very cryptic. It looks intriguing enough for us to try it out. And certainly Renee Zellweger makes me want to see it. But I can't really tell you much about it, except that I think you should definitely pay attention and watch the first episode at least.
Yeah, I think give it a try. It sounds to me like that movie, The Box. Anyway.
The only thing that makes me a little wary is because it is from the creator of Revenge, and Revenge was such a twisty-turny soap opera that ended up kind of, I think, cannibalizing on itself.
Yes, but the key there being soap opera, which means it has to go on and on and on and on.
And this is an anthology.
And since this has a beginning
and
an end, it might be tighter.
That's true. That's true. So, and it is Netflix, which tends to be, allow for more edgier content. So, anyway, What If? Premiering worldwide on Netflix May 24th, and I think you should check it out. We'll definitely report back to you after we do. And now another movie review from Mimi.
Yes, it's called All Is True, and you might not have even heard about this movie because honestly, if it had not appeared at my SAG, Film Society, I might not have known anything about it.
Well, here's the thing. I when we did the movie preview for the spring, I definitely saw it, but I thought, well, even though it's interesting because it is about Shakespeare, as you're going to hear, I thought, well, it has nothing to do with us. It's not about women. It's about Shakespeare.
Well, surprise.
Surprise!
It has a lot to do with women. It has a huge feminist aspect. Anyway, it's in theaters starting this weekend with a stunning cast. Kenneth Branagh, who directed, plays Will Shakespeare. It's about Shakespeare in his later years. It's after the Globe burned down, and he never wrote another word after the Globe Theater burned down, which is tragic. Judi Dench plays Anne Hathaway. Catherine Wilder plays his daughter Judith. And Ian McKellen has a very interesting sort of a cameo, and you learn something that everybody may know, but me. You did know it?
No, I say I doubt that. I think you're pretty tight with Will.
Anyway, yes, I'm pretty tight with Will. And Lydia Wilson, who plays the other daughter, Susanna. And I knew nothing about his family life, so that in itself was quite interesting. There were also flashbacks. He lost a son who was Judith's twin brother that is very central to what goes on in this. He's haunted by it, also because he wasn't a very good father in the early years, and the boy died relatively young. The feminist angle, which I'm going to get to right away, is very, very fascinating to me, and was quite a surprise, and very central to the movie, which shows the total lack of agency women had in that, in the early 17th century till practically now. I mean, but it was noticed then. It was felt by the women. His wife Judith, his daughter Judith, wanted more. She was not married. She could not inherit. His daughter Susanna was married to a Puritan who nobody really in the family liked. He would inherit. His wife Anne would inherit, but Judith wanted more than just to be married and have children. She had aspirations. There are a couple of very interesting little twists and surprises in this. One that has to do with Judith, one that has to do with the sonnets. Anyway, I was surprised at how much of this movie, which gives you a lot of wonderful background into Shakespeare's later life that you didn't know, and his earlier life. But he was revered. He grew up and died in the same town. And the feminist aspect is quite interesting, and it was quite unexpected.
Though the movie itself, I don't think you loved as much as you hoped you'd love.
No, I liked it very much. I was not overwhelmed by its virtuosity, but it's very well done. Everybody is wonderful.
I mean,
people
Judi Dench.
Yeah, Ian McKellen.
Yeah.
Kenneth Branagh is very good as
barely recognizable.
Yes, as William Shakespeare. If you like Shakespeare, and I know many of you do, I recommend it. It's a little over 90 minutes. It's very wonderfully acted. It's very interesting. It's gorgeous to look at, but I have to say that this trend of lighting as they lit in the period is becoming very annoying. The first part of the movie is very, very dark. My friend who went with me said she, it took her a while to get into it because the first part of the movie is quite dark. Sometimes I wish Barry Lyndon had never been made. But anyway, all is true in theaters this weekend. Like Shakespeare, go see it.
And now for our weekly corner of
Game of Thrones.
Okay.
So this is episode 4. It's post-battle. It was a bit of an anti-feminist episode, which is quite interesting, yes. It was one of those episodes that until the last perhaps 5 or 10 minutes took place at Winterfell, inside, having a great feast because they won. You got to see some lighter sides of people. There was a lot of bantering, a lot of joking around.
I just want to say we're having a bit of a helicopter problem in the background. It's been going on for half an hour, so just bear with us if you hear a little noise in the background, please.
Daenerys seemed to feel a little bit out of place this time at this particular point. Wired said that this was sort of all about women orbiting men and how they look through that limited context. And it's a shame because the women are really the center of Game of Thrones. I don't care how you feel about any of the men. It's the women who run the show and who are the most powerful, and that's part of the problem. Even Varys says that he's not sure that Daenerys should rule along Jon on the Iron Throne should they win because she's too strong for him. I mean, for a show that's let the women really shine, I think that this was a little bit of a retro episode. But Brienne loses her virginity to Jamie.
Everybody's losing their virginity.
Yes, well, that may be the end of the world.
Everybody who ended up on our gay or nay on
exactly.
the gay side.
They must have seen that and said, oh, wait, we better do something about that. Anyway, it looked very much for a while like Jamie was going to stay back in Winterfell with Brienne because Brienne is sworn to protect the women of Winterfell, but no, war calls him. The worst thing to me was the death of the second dragon, because Euron came with his fleet, and just as Dany and the rest of our team were getting to her island, Euron surprised everybody. They had many dragon-killing machines. Somebody I heard mentioned, why don't they use the dragons for reconnaissance? Hello, they could fly way high up and they could go and see what's going on. But no, that would sort of put an end to the plot. Also, we lost Missandei, who I love so much. And here's something that I didn't know until I read about it. I couldn't understand why Dany did not have the dragon unleash its fiery fury on Euron's ships, but he did not. And also, when Cersei was about to murder Missandei in front of, they had a little meeting to discuss what they would do going forward with our side, with Dany, to discuss with Cersei, maybe there was a way forward without war. She gave Missandei one chance to speak, and I didn't hear what it was, but I read that what she said was Dracarys begging Dany to unleash the fire of the dragons and rescue her. But as it turns out, the dragons were very weakened by the cold in the north. They didn't have enough food. They had a huge battle, then they had to fly home, and Dany's dragon couldn't even summon the fire from within to destroy Euron's ship. So we don't know exactly what's going to happen. I just hope that we get, at the end, we get the character-driven stories that have made this show the great show it is, because the last few episodes have really been story-driven. And I find characters acting sort of contrary to who they really are. Tyrion teasing Brienne mercilessly about her virginity, all kinds of things that were a little bit anti-feminist. The only one who held her place and will always be who she is Arya. And I'm looking forward to her killing Cersei, to tell you the truth. This was a good episode. There's never a bad episode. It wasn't the best episode. And of course, the two things I care about most in this show, as it turns out, are the dragons and Arya. And now we're down to one dragon. Broke my heart to see this dragon killed. But I cannot wait to see our side victorious. I just can't. I want this to wipe the smirk off of Euron's hideous face. And I just say, let's go forward and let's destroy Cersei and King's Landing. I'll be looking forward to it, and I hope we don't lose too many of the people we love.
Okay, thank you, Mimi. And you can email us at ladypartstv@gmail.com to tell us what you thought about Game of Thrones or anything else. And we will see you right back here next week. Bye.
Bye.